evening, everyone. Today we are going to learn something new, that is law of equimarginal utility. So, this is the continuation from last law. Why we need this law? Because the law of diminishing marginal utility was applicable only when you have unlimited amount of money. When you have unlimited amount of money.
सर आपकी आवाज नहीं
Sir,
आ रही
you are not audible to us.
यस बताइए,
सर आपका आवाज नहीं आ रहा है
वॉइस नहीं आ रही है?
सर।
अभी भी? इज इट विथ एवरीवन?
यस सर अभी आया।
है। यस सर आ रही है।
Okay. So law of diminishing marginal utility is applicable only when you have unlimited amount of money. But when you have limited amount of money, then you need another law. Then you need another law, and that is law of equimarginal utility. And the other thing is, when you have more than one commodity for consumption, more than
सर आवाज नहीं आ रही।
when you have more than one commodity for consumption, and you have limited amount of money, then you need law of equimarginal utility. When you have limited amount of money and you are consuming only one commodity, then the applicable law is law of diminishing marginal utility. So with this background, we proceed to the statement of law. The statement of law, audible enough? Yes? No?
यस सर।
No, sir.
How many of you still say not audible?
सर वॉइस ब्रेक हो रही है सर।
ब्रेक हो रही है। हेलो, am I still audible?
प्रॉब्लम आ रहा कुछ गौरव?
Yes sir.
कुछ प्रॉब्लम है?
वॉइस प्रॉब्लम सर, कुछ लोगों के
अच्छा
लिए वॉइस ब्रेक हो रही है। अभी क्या स्थिति है? मोनिका, मनीष?
नो सर।
So we proceed to the statement of law. So what does the law say? And so I will just tell the statement. I will read out the statement. The law states that the consumer will distribute his money income between the goods in such a way that the utility derived from the last unit of money spent on each good is equal. तो यहाँ पे ये बताया है कि जो इनकम है उसको कंज्यूमर इस हिसाब से डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करेगा डिफरेंट गुड्स में कि लास्ट जब वो डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करते जाएगा तो मनी की जो मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी है वो अलग अलग गुड्स में वो लास्ट यूनिट जब भी करेगा उसके लिए इक्वल होगी। मार्शल का स्टेटमेंट है, इफ ए पर्सन हैज अ थिंग व्हिच ही कैन पुट टू सेवरल यूजेस, ही विल डिस्ट्रीब्यूट इट बिटवीन दोज यूजेस इन सच ए वे इट हैज द सेम मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी इन ऑल। तो लॉ बस यही कह रहा है कि अगर आपके पास तीन गुड है ए, बी और सी, तो जब भी आप लास्ट यूनिट ऑफ मनी स्पेंड करो, कहां जहां आप अपना एक्सपेंडिचर करना रखोगे, वहां मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी ऑफ ए डिवाइडेड बाय प्राइस ऑफ ए इक्वल टू मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी ऑफ बी डिवाइडेड बाय प्राइस ऑफ बी, मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी ऑफ सी डिवाइडेड बाय प्राइस ऑफ सी विल इक्वल मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी ऑफ मनी। तो मनी की जितनी मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी है, लास्ट 1 रुपया जो आपने खर्च किया है उसकी मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी की बात कर रहे हैं, उस एक लास्ट रुपए की जितनी मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी होगी वो इन तीन रेशियोज के बराबर होगी। तीनों रेशियो आपस में बराबर होंगे और लास्ट जो 1 रुपया आपने खर्च किया है उसकी जितनी मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी है ये सब उसके बराबर हो जाएगा। MUM इज मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी ऑफ मनी।
सर वॉइस ब्रेक हो रही है सर बीच बीच में।
जी
सर बीच बीच में वॉइस सर लो पिच में हो जाती है।
बिकॉज कुछ वेरिएशन आ रहा है नेटवर्क में इसलिए हो रहा है, अदरवाइज देयर इज नथिंग।
यस सर।
यही कहना है कि आप तब तक खर्चा करते जाएंगे, तब तक खर्चा करते जाएंगे जब तक मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी ऑफ मनी अपने अलग अलग यूज में, क्योंकि आप ए बी और सी तीनों पे खर्चा कर रहे हैं, तो ये जो रेशियो है मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी ऑफ ए डिवाइडेड बाय प्राइस ऑफ ए बी और सी तो कांस्टेंट है, सिर्फ मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी चेंज होती है। तो कहने का मतलब है कि जब तक ये रेशियो उसकी मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी ऑफ मनी के बराबर ना हो जाए।
जी सर।
वेट ऑडिबल हूँ?
यस सर।
यस सर।
यस सर।
So this law is also known as इसी लॉ को और अलग अलग नाम से भी बुलाते हैं, जैसे फेमसली लॉ ऑफ सब्स्टिट्यूशन, सब्स्टिट्यूशन क्यों कहते हैं इसे? वी कॉल इट लॉ ऑफ सब्स्टिट्यूशन क्योंकि हम अज्यूम करते हैं कि कंज्यूमर एक कमोडिटी ए को बी के लिए सब्स्टिट्यूट करता है या बी को सी के लिए सब्स्टिट्यूट करता है, यानी कमोडिटीज को आपस में सब्स्टिट्यूट करता है। कमोडिटीज को सब्स्टिट्यूटेबल माना गया है आपस में, सो दे आर ग्रॉस सब्स्टिट्यूट, तो इसीलिए इसे लॉ ऑफ सब्स्टिट्यूशन भी कहा गया है। लॉ इस तरीके से बताता है कि हम जो है कम यूटिलिटी वाली चीज को सब्स्टिट्यूट करते हैं ज्यादा यूटिलिटी वाली चीज से, तो जिस चीज की यूटिलिटी कम हो जाती है हम उसको ज्यादा यूटिलिटी वाली चीज से सब्स्टिट्यूट कर लेते हैं। सो ये लॉ डिक्टेट करता है। लॉ ये भी कहता है कि जिस चीज की स्केर्सिटी है उसके बदले में हम कम स्केर्सिटी वाली चीज को सब्स्टिट्यूट करते हैं, इसलिए इसका नाम लॉ ऑफ सब्स्टिट्यूशन। फिर आता है इकोनॉमी ऑफ एक्सपेंडिचर। लॉ ऑफ इकोनॉमी ऑफ एक्सपेंडिचर, ऐसा क्यों कहते हैं लॉ ऑफ इकोनॉमी ऑफ एक्सपेंडिचर? क्योंकि ये लॉ हमें सिखाता है कि हम किस हिसाब से इकोनॉमिकली स्पेंड करें चीजों पे, एक्सपेंडिचर कैसे करना है चीजों पे, कब तक करना है, कितना करना है, कितनी क्वांटिटी परचेस करना है ये बताता है हमें लॉ कि मिनिमम रिस्ट्रिक्टेड बजट में परचेसिंग कैसे की जाए ये लॉ बताता है। फिर आता है लॉ ऑफ मैक्सिमम सेटिस्फेक्शन। हम कहते हैं थर्ड नाम दिया है लॉ ऑफ मैक्सिमम सेटिस्फेक्शन। लॉ ऑफ मैक्सिमम सेटिस्फेक्शन क्योंकि हम कहते हैं कि लिमिटेड बजट में अपना सेटिस्फेक्शन कैसे मैक्सिमम करना है ये लॉ बताता है। फिर आता है लॉ ऑफ इंडिफरेंस। लॉ ऑफ इंडिफरेंस लॉ ऑफ इंडिफरेंस and then you have principle of proportionality. प्रिंसिपल ऑफ प्रोपोर्शनैलिटी से क्यों कहते हैं क्योंकि हम अलग अलग कमोडिटी के बीच में ऑप्टिमम प्रोपोर्शन डिसाइड कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे कि किस प्रोपोर्शन में कितना खर्च होना चाहिए किस कमोडिटी पे। ये प्रिंसिपल ऑफ प्रोपोर्शनैलिटी है। और हम ये भी देखते हैं कि जो प्रोपोर्शन यहाँ पे लिखा था जैसे हमने MU of A by PA equal to MU of B by PB should equal MU of money। ये भी एक प्रोपोर्शन है। इस प्रोपोर्शन को भी मैच करना होता है तो इसलिए इसको प्रिंसिपल ऑफ प्रोपोर्शनैलिटी भी कहते हैं। इसके बाद आ जाते हैं अजम्पशंस पे। Rationality of consumer। फर्स्ट assumption is rationality of consumer। हम ये प्रिज्यूम करके चलते हैं अज्यूम करके चलते हैं that consumer is interested in maximizing his utility and minimizing his cost। So second is full knowledge। So we assume that the consumer has full knowledge about the commodities, their attributes, prices, and any other relevant information in regards to commodities present in the market available for consumption. Then we also assume divisibility. So we also assume divisibility and substitutability. That means commodities are substitutable among each other and commodities divisible into smaller units as required. So you can, let's say you can cut apple into any number of small pieces. So that's what divisibility means. And you can substitute apple to orange and apple orange for apple. So anyway, so that is substitutability. And we also assume income, taste, and preferences are given. Given means they are constant, so they are not going to change during the course of application of law. So income is given, so income is constant. Taste preferences are constant. So we assume that, and one more assumption. One more assumption is for each commodity consumed LDMU. LDMU means law of diminishing marginal utility is applicable. So these are the assumptions we are making in the process. So any doubt in this, you can ask. Yes, any doubt?
No, sir.
So I would like to say that one assumption, the second one, full or complete knowledge, is not realistic because we don't know all alternatives present for a given commodity. Suppose you want to buy bath soap for taking bath. Uh, so you don't know all available alternatives in the market. You may know only 4 or 5 brands, but there are 20, 30 brands of the soap in the market, and you cannot remember the prices. You don't have even a price list before you, so it is very likely that you do not have complete knowledge. So this is one disadvantage. Uh, and divisibility is not always assured. So this is limitation. I'm telling limitation of the law based on its assumption. So you cannot say divide everything into small pieces. So like if you see the substitution between horse and let's say donkey, you cannot cut horse into half and donkey into half. Even there are some things which you cannot cut. For example, ball. A ball cannot be cut into half. Once you cut it, there's no meaning. So only for large chunk of let's say consumable items in agriculture, you can apply this. But applying this, let's say to sari, if you wear a sari and if you say substitution half sari is equal to 3 pieces of trousers, does it make sense? Half sari means what? Sari cut into half has no meaning. So divisibility is very challenging and limiting assumption. And assuming that LDMU is applicable to everything, you can't say. There are some commodities for which LDMU is not applicable, like air collection. Yesterday we talked of. So these are the limitations based on the assumptions. So we are talking. Any other doubt? Any other doubt? No? If no doubt, we'll go ahead. Otherwise, I will still be asking. Any other doubt?
No, sir.
So these are the assumptions, limitations. Based on the assumptions, I would tell the limitations. So you must remember assumptions. Then there are some more assumptions for commodities which are unlimited in supply. This law is applicable for only limited, uh, goods which are limited in nature. The supply is limited and income is limited. But what if you have goods which is unlimited in supply? For goods which are unlimited in supply, this is not applicable. This is also not applicable if you are slaves of the custom. Slaves of customs and traditions. So people, are slaves of customs and traditions. So they won't bother about what this law is saying because they have to do what the tradition says, and therefore it's not applicable. Their thoughts may be looking irrational to us. Then durability is the other issue. So varying degrees of durability of goods pose problems, so satisfaction from it cannot be measured while purchasing such goods. So if you buy car, if you buy furniture, if you buy almirah, something, they have different lifespans, and that too not declared in advance how long it can really bear with time. So it's difficult there. Then one more thing is you do not know what is the marginal utility of money to you. So it's not known. Marginal utility of anything is not known. It's not really known. Marginal utility is not known. So when you cannot really measure it, and you cannot have even feel for this marginal utility, it is very difficult to compare marginal utility, in mind, and then calculate their ratios, and calculate it equal to you know, what I should say, marginal utility of money. So we cannot really do it, so it's difficult. Now practical applications, practical importance. So one is in consumption, production, exchange. There are even more. So for consumption, we can say that consumer will allot limited income as per this law into various commodities. So he can maximize his utility subject to budget constraint. Production, so employers of resources will substitute one factor for another till their marginal productivities are made same. So for production, what producer would do is, so he will equate marginal MPP. Heard of marginal physical product? No? Yes? Anyone? प्रोडक्शन इकोनॉमिक्स में आ गया होगा इतना तो डिफिकल्ट नो रिस्पॉन्स नो रिस्पॉन्स means you are not there. Are you there? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. So your voice is little bit not clear.
Still not clear.
Yes, sir. थोड़ी हो जाती है बीच में.
So I am just asking whether you know MPP.
Yes, sir.
So you should say yes or no at least. So you know
Yes, sir.
MPP. So what I want to say is, so producer will do MPP by let's say price of x1 MPP x1 divided by this MPP x2 divided by price of x2. He will do something like this. So in production economics, this law is changing to law of diminishing marginal returns. Instead of utility, you can write returns, and as it is applicable, right? in case of exchange, what this law says is uh, things which are of less utility to us, we exchange them and process continues until utilities of what we are exchanging with the other are same. Then price determination. So price determination says that those goods which are scarce, they are having more price, right? Those goods which are less scarce, they are having less price. So substitute less scarce goods for more scarce goods, right? Now, so what does it say is if you continue substitution of less scarce goods for more scarce goods, then scarcity will be out of sight because there will be no scarcity. You are substituting, and the price will also equalize in the process. Okay, so price of a scarce good will come down because its relative scarcity has come down. Then distribution, the share of each factor of production is determined on the basis of marginal value productivity. What is that? Marginal, marginal value productivity. And any doubt in this?
Yes, sir.
So now I want to show you graphically how this law is applicable. So these are the I'm saying there are three goods. There are three goods. Three goods are potato, tomato, and guava. And this is the marginal utility of money. This line shows. This line shows. So this much is the marginal utility of money. Okay. And this is the marginal utility curve for different commodities. Okay. So wherever this line crosses the marginal utility curve, okay. So this is the quantity. Let's say potato. This is the optimum quantity that needs to be consumed. 2 star tomato, and this is the 2 star guava. Right? So, you know that this horizontal line represents marginal utility of money. So, at this point, let's say this is E1, let's say this point is E2, let's say this point is E3. At this point, marginal utility, I think I should say marginal utility of 42 divided by price of potato. This curve shows MU potato by potato. This curve shows MU tomato by P tomato. Price of tomato is P tomato, and this shows MU guava by price of guava. Okay, so here equal to MU. Here MU tomato by P tomato is equal to MU M. D is MU guava by P guava equal to MU M. So in each case at point E1, E2, E3, you can see that this declining curve is showing MU P naught by P naught. So, or so marginal utility of potato divided by price of potato is equal to marginal utility of money. In this case, marginal utility of tomato divided by price of tomato is equal to marginal utility of money. Here, marginal utility of guava is divided by price of guava equal to marginal utility of money. This is understandable? Yes.
Yes, sir.
In book, you will also find a version where on this axis they take expenditure on different commodities. You can take quantity also. This does not change anything, right? But when you take what I should say, when you take this one expenditure here, it's only marginal utility, and not price. Price will not come. Okay. So it's there in book also. It's there in book also, right? Should I go ahead? Should I go ahead? May I go ahead? No? Understood it? Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Now, based on this law, also we can derive the price demand relationship. We can derive price demand relationship, and here we have MU by P. Okay, just for one commodity I am taking this. Here you have quantity Q, and these are the curves showing different levels of thing. So what is this? So this is marginal utility of potato. It's potato equal to, let's say, P1 level. Here P1, P2, P3, P4 are prices of the commodity. Only one commodity we are considering, and we are dividing marginal utility by prices. And if marginal utility of money is, let's say, this much MUM is constant. constant. Okay, MUM is constant. This is the horizontal one. So this is the quantity. This is the optimal quantity you get. Okay. So corresponding to this one, Q1, Q3, Q4, right? So you get different quantities corresponding to. So same marginal utility curve is there, but prices are different. Prices are different. So now I take the same quantity here, here, corresponding to this here, here, and here, right? Okay, I'm just dotting the line. Here you take price. Okay. Here you take quantity Q. Here you take quantity Q. Now, which price should be higher and which price should be lower? Which price is lower? Which price is higher? So definitely, you will get a curve like this. Demand curve. Right? This is the demand curve. This is the demand curve we have derived. Right? So, since you get the least quantity only at the highest price, so here is your P4, here is P3, here is P2, and here is level P1. Right? I can erase these two to make graph look better. So what I mean to say is, for one commodity, you are taking same marginal utility curve, but dividing it with different level of prices, so that you get to know what is the quantity consumed at different level of prices given the same marginal utility pattern. So you get a demand curve. So with the help of law of equimarginal utility, you can derive a demand curve too. So this is extension of law of diminishing marginal utility. There also we derived a marginal utility curve. Here also we are derived not marginal demand curve. There we derive demand curve. Here also we deriving demand curve. The only difference you get is you get it is in terms of adding this. Here you are adding marginal utility of money. There was no concept of marginal utility of money. Here, instead of marginal utility curve, you are also taking price. So you are taking ratio of marginal utility to price. Here you are taking ratio of marginal utility to price. So far so much. Any doubt? Any doubt here?
No, sir.
So you can derive different levels of demand curve. So now I will show you the algebra, how to do it algebraically, because in some competitive exam they still ask you to write
सर आवाज नहीं आ रही है. सेवन नहीं, हमारा समय तो बंद हो गया साहब।
हमें उससे कोई मतलब नहीं, ऑफिस का टाइम 6 बजे का।
काम 7 बजे बैठे हैं, तो आपको फिर क्या करेंगे? काम कहाँ करता नहीं, वही चालू तो चलिए।
इससे कोई मतलब नहीं।
साफ सुथरा कर लेना।
रुको अभी लगाते हैं।
अभी हम सर्व साफ।
अभी लगाते हैं ना, किसको दम दे रहे हो?
दम नहीं दे रहे यार, तुम दम की बात करा, हमारा क्या हो गया? दम नहीं दे, दम से जिंदगी की बात है। तुम तो नाराज हो गए।
नहीं ऐसे कर रहे हो, आज पहली बार कर रहे हो।
पहली बार की बात नहीं है, हम 5:15 5:30 बजे तक ढुके हैं।
ऑफिस का टाइम 6 बजे है। रुक जाओ रुक जाओ। सॉरी स्टूडेंट्स, यहाँ पे ऐसे ही चलता JNK में। आपने देख लिया तमाशा? यस।
यस सर।
हाँ
यस सर।
ऐसे ही हैं नौकर, जब तक समझदारी से काम ना लें विश्वविद्यालय बंद करवा देंगे ये तो आई विल जस्ट शो दी अलजेब्रा। सो क्योंकि कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम में आता है और कहीं आ जाए तो आपको ऐसा ना लगे, ऐसा जबरदस्ती नहीं है उसको सीखना, बट स्टिल इफ यू नो कि बेटर रहेगा। So we were about to derive the algebra. So now up to yesterday what we learned was something like this: net benefit equal to utility of Q minus PQ, right? This is what we did yesterday. Visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now today we are going to introduce one more thing. So here we are going to maximize utility, but will not deduct cost
Sir,
from it. Okay.
sir, the
Yes.
board is not completely visible.
Okay. Wait. I think I would write it here, somewhere here. So until yesterday we did it something like this. Utility function u of q minus pq, right? Visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay. So today I am just going to say that we are going to maximize this utility portion only. Will not consider this part. This cost portion will introduce separately. So I am going to write a function L, okay? L for Lagrangian. So I am just going to write U is function of Q1 and Q2 because until yesterday it was only for single commodity. Now I am going to consider two commodity whose quantity I am writing as Q1 and Q2. Then I am going to ask you one thing. How do you write a budget? You know? So let M be my budget. Let M बार क्यों लगाया इसके ऊपर? क्योंकि वो कांस्टेंट रखना है मुझे. M is your budget. बार लगा दिया तो M कांस्टेंट है. Let M be the constant budget. Let M be the constant budget. Okay. P1 is price of Q1 and P2 of Q2. ठीक है? ठीक है?
Yes,
ऐसा?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I am doing only one thing. I can write अगर मैं पूरा बजट खर्च करता हूं, if I am spending whole of my budget, M bar on two things, then P1 Q1 plus P2 Q2. Right? ऐसा ही होगा? If I am spending my whole budget on two things, Q1 and Q2, then if I am spending whole budget on Q1 and Q2, then it is like this. I can write.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, very simple thing. How do you make it zero? So M bar इसको इस साइड ले आओ. We can write something like this.
Yes, sir.
And I am putting a Lagrangian constant here, which I call Lagrangian multiplier. Since I can write 0, will it change anything? Will it change anything?
लैम्डा क्यों लिखा है इन्होंने?
Huh? 0 multiplied by lambda. So again, this portion will remain the same. Yes. So instead of writing 0, I can write M bar minus P1 Q1 minus P2 Q2. I can write something like this in place of 0 because that is 0 means nothing. We can write something like this. Can I
Yes,
write
sir.
something like this? Okay. And now instead of writing D, I will write deba because because when I differentiate with respect to Q1, Q2 is assumed to be constant, and when I differentiate with respect to Q2, Q1 is assumed to be constant. So these follows ceteris paribus assumption. So these follows ceteris paribus assumption. Deba follows, but D does not follow. To follow that ceteris paribus assumption, I am going to use Deba, right? So Deba L by Deba Q1 equal to Deba U. I'm not going to write this one, but time waste होता है. Directly लिख दिया. Plus lambda. ये कांस्टेंट है, 0 हो जाएगा डिफरेंशिएशन पे, बचेगा सिर्फ माइनस P1 इक्वल टू 0. ठीक है, ये भी कांस्टेंट है, ये भी कांस्टेंट है अब, और m बार भी कांस्टेंट है, तो बचेगा सिर्फ P1 डिफरेंशिएशन पे. ये नोट्स में नहीं है, सो यू शुड टेक इट डाउन, राइट? So this is nothing but your marginal utility. MU1, so MU1, right? Minus lambda P1 equal to 0. Equal to 0. इसमें कोई डाउट? No?
No.
No, sir.
Okay. Now I will do for Deba L by Deba Q2. So Deba U by Deba Q2 plus lambda minus P2 equal to 0, because this time m bar, P1, Q1 are constant. Even P2 is constant, but it is associated with Q2, so it will not become 0. So what you can write, so this is nothing but your marginal utility of Q2. So I will write MU2 minus lambda P2 equal to 0. So I can write this also as MU1 equal to lambda P1, right? I can write. Is this okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So,
Okay.
so what does lambda represent here?
That's what is the trick here. मैं आखिरी में बताऊंगा और आप सरप्राइज हो जाएंगे. Just wait. I will tell you. So far you should understand that lambda here is a Lagrange multiplier. ये तो इसका मैथमेटिकल मीनिंग हो गया कि वो एक मैथमेटिकल मल्टीप्लायर है. इट इज ए कांस्टेंट. इट इज ए कांस्टेंट. ठीक है, मैं आपको और आगे ले चलता हूं. So now we have only two things left, this one and this one. So I can write mu1 by p1 equal to lambda, and this one I can write as mu2 by p2, right? I can write something like this. Can I write something like this?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So this is what is the statement of law. This is what is statement of law. This is what we stated in the beginning कि यही होगा लॉ में. बार बार हम रिपीट कर रहे हैं. और हमने कहा था this and this is equal to MUM. और वो MUM क्या है? वो ये लैम्डा है. वो MUM क्या है? वो ये लैम्डा है. ये लैम्डा क्या है? ये लैम्डा आपको देता है मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी ऑफ मनी। आर यू गेटिंग?
Yes, sir.
मैथमेटिकली उसकी डेफिनेशन कुछ भी हो, वो एक कांस्टेंट हो, पर हमारे लिए वो क्या है? हमारे लिए वो मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी ऑफ मनी है। आई होप नाउ यू आर गेटिंग कि ये लॉ कैसे आया। और ये पूरा डिडक्शन है, हम कहते हैं डिडक्टिव अप्रोच है, डिडक्टिव अप्रोच है। तो हमने क्या किया, पहले कुछ अजम्पशंस बनाए, राइट? हमने कुछ जनरल अजम्पशंस बनाए, हमने कुछ इक्वेशंस ली जो हमारे जिस चीज को स्टडी कर रहे हैं उसको रिप्रेजेंट कर रही है, और हमने फिर डेरिवेशन किया। डेरिवेशन इज नथिंग बट डिडक्शन। और आप पूरी प्रोसेस देखो, हम वहीं पे आ गए कि जनरल से एक पर्टिकुलर केस पे आ गए हैं, राइट? हमने एक कुछ पर्टिकुलर चीज प्राप्त कर ली है, और वो है लॉ ऑफ इक्विमार्जिनल यूटिलिटी का फाइनल स्टेटमेंट जो हमारे सामने है। ठीक है?
Yes, sir.
ओके। तो ये कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम्स के लिए जरूरी है कि आप आईएएस लिखो, तो ये सब डेरिवेशन वहां पे काम आते हैं। ठीक है? सो फॉर टुडे दिस ओनली। ओके, अभी कोई डाउट हो तो बाद में देखेंगे। आई विल ट्राई टू प्रोवाइड वीडियो ऑल्सो ऑन द यूट्यूब। ठीक?
Yes, sir.
थैंक यू फॉर ज्वाइनिंग टुडे।
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू फॉर योर पेशेंस।
थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू।